Hello and welcome back to our YouTube channel. So, as you know, if you would have read our posts from today, we are going to deliver the free coaching classes for your UPSC preparation, and we had started with the daily Hindu news analysis. So, before we start our discussion about the class here, I will like to mention few important points why we are doing it, what is the reason for that, why we are bringing two lectures daily here. So let me give you the brief introduction about that. You know, if you have to clear the UPSC exam, there are few important parameters which you have to look after. You know, your UPSC exam does not only contain the parts from the static portion. You have to be very much aware of what is happening in the world from what has happened in the world from the last 1 year, what is happening in the country, what has happened in the country from the last 1 year. You have to be very much aware of that. And that awareness, where will you get that awareness from? You will get it from the newspapers, you will get it from the various news channels, we can say. You will get it from the news articles in the newspapers. You may use different newspapers for that. But if you are a beginner, it is very much difficult for you to manage the time with respect to reading newspapers. Usually, on average basis, if there is any beginner, what he does, if he has to read the newspaper, first up, he does not know what to read in the newspaper. He does not know what to read in a newspaper. So that is a big deal for him. So what he does, he would go and try to read everything what is written in the newspaper, and without understanding it, he is not able to connect the articles what they are about. So this is the biggest task, and this is the biggest challenge for an aspirant, and it consumes lots of time, lots of yours time. So to overcome this, to overcome this challenge faced by the UPSC aspirants, different channels, different institutes had come up with the solution. Many are giving the magazines for that, which you have to read, which they are summarizing your news analysis for the month, and you read that, you get the idea. And I personally believe that it is not enough, because reading magazines, it will just give you the information, but you are not able to visualize what had happened. You are not able to figure it out. You are not able to connect the articles. And in the same way, there comes many YouTubers, or we can say many institutes, which bring up the news analysis, which give the news analysis here, and they give the detailed analysis what it is about, what is happening in the world, and they figure it out for you, what articles are important for you. So as I told you, as we had mentioned, that our approach is to cover everything what is important for you except optionals, because optional is something different which we are not going to cover here. So for that, it is very much mandatory for us to cover the news analysis, to feed the information what is important for you. So in this way, in this regard, we had come up with this news analysis. Every day we'll come up with this news analysis. We will try to pick up the most important articles from the newspapers. We'll try to discuss them, and finally, as you know me, I will try to derive the possible prelims question which can be asked from that particular article, which could be relevant for your preparation, so that it will give the idea which article is important for you, how you should read that article, and how you can expect a possible prelims question from that particular article. So in nutshell, let me repeat again, every day about our institute here, every day we are going to upload 2 videos. In the morning session, we are going to discuss the daily news analysis, so that the time which you would spend in reading the news papers, that would cost you approximately around 3 to 4 hours. We'll reduce that to 30 to 1 hour. In this time period, we will discuss the important articles. I would request you guys to trust the process, but still, if you want to read the news articles, it is up to you. But here, if you will trust us, we will pick up the most important articles for you, and we'll discuss that. And after, we will discuss the news analysis in the morning session. In the evening session, yet we had not decided what time it would be. We will bring up the static lecture, and from today we are going to bring those lectures, and from today we are going to discuss the Indian polity and governance. So today we are going to deliver our first lecture here, so please do stay with us. If you had not subscribed us, please do subscribe us. This initiative is very unique. We are going to cover your syllabus A to Z except optionals. Whatever subject is important for you, whether it would be prelims or mains, we will try to cover it except optionals. And also we are going to discuss and cover your daily news analysis. So this much I guess is important for you to give the idea about this initiative. I hope you would like it, and I definitely hope you would subscribe the channel. So with this, let's have a look at the first article which we had brought in the news today, here today. As you can see, the article here is talking about, recently you would have heard about that how India would surpass Japan and become the fourth largest economy in the world. This is the great milestone to achieve, fourth largest economy in the world. This is the great milestone that a country can achieve. We are in the present day, we are competing with the world in different domains, whether it would be technology, whether it would be the social understanding, whether it would be education, whether it would be the poverty alleviation, whether it would be whether it would be eliminating the diseases. We are competing with the world in every aspect. And in this race, if you are becoming the fourth largest economy, it is the biggest milestone. That what does it show? What does it represent that our country is the fourth largest economy? What does it represent? It represents that the market is very huge. The market in our country is very huge. What would it represent? What would it further represent? It would represent that there would be more investments in the country. More investments would be there in the country. It would represent that many companies in the world, the countries in the world, they would trust us because they would believe that this country is really rich. They have the resources, they have everything, they can tackle any situation. So getting this title that we are the fourth largest economy, it is something great. It is something to be cherished, that we can cherish about. It is something we can celebrate about. But here in the article, the author of this article, he is giving us the different picture of this. And to be honest, this is exactly what the reality is. The different picture of this. Even though we had achieved the milestone of the fourth largest economy, we had crossed the 3.5 trillion GDP. Our growth with the GDP of our country, it is above 3.5 trillion. We are one of the largest economies of the world. Fourth largest economy as per the IMF. We are about to cross the Japan. So what it should ideally represent? Ideally, it should represent that the per capita income should be very much, everybody is enjoying that wealth. Everybody is enjoying that wealth. The people below the poverty line are very less. We enjoy the great per capita income. The people in our country are happy. The poverty in our country is reduced to the highest level. But does the GDP represent that? So is it the real situation in our country? Even though we are the fourth largest economy in the world, but is it really so that the people in this world, in our country, they are enjoying this status? What the GDP represents, what the economy, what the status of our economy represents, is it enjoyed by the citizens of our country? Is it enjoyed by every citizen of our country? No, there is an income divide. There is a huge income divide. There is huge income inequality. So this is the reality. There is huge income inequality. And in this article, the author has given us the example through these graphics that how the GDP of the Japan, when compared to Indian GDP, how we had increased, how we had surpassed them. But if we will compare it with the per capita income, we are ways behind the Japan. Their per capita income is very much high as compared to India. And also when further the author here in this article, in these graphics, he brings in the Poland scene also, how the economy of the Poland is 10 times lesser, or we can say 12 times lesser than India, but how their GDP is 12 times lesser than India, but still when it comes to per capita income and it comes to happiness index, they are way ahead of us. So here in this article, what we understood that GDP, it is something which we can exaggerate on, but it is not the reality. The numbers represented by GDP, it shows the worth of the country, but it does not shows how it does not show what the people in the country are living, what life they are living, whether there is income inequality, whether there is income divide. It is not represented by the GDP. So here in this article, the author actually suggests that even though we are achieving the fourth, we are about to become the fourth largest economy, but still if we'll dig deep into the details, we are way behind Japan. Even though we are going to cross the numbers, even though by numbers we are going we would be ahead of Japan, but in reality we are way behind the Japan, because our income inequality is very huge. Per capita income is very backward as compared to Japan, even as compared to Poland. So with this, I hope you had understood the article here. What were important points we had got in here, we had discussed that. Now with respect to this, we will solve a prelims based question which can be very much relevant for your preparation. So let's solve it on the next slide. Let's see what question we had brought there. Well, here the question says, consider the following statements regarding the shortcomings of gross domestic product as a measure of economic well-being. So the question is very much clear. Usually this kind of question would come, but the statement, the wordings would be a little bit different. It would be a little bit different here. Why I had brought this question like this, so that it will give you the example, it will give you the idea how a question can be asked. It would put you in the race. It will give you the push, which will put you in the inertia of motion. It will give you that motion. It will give you that idea how the questions are asked in the exam. So let's solve the question here. The question says, consider the following statements regarding the shortcomings of the gross domestic product as a measure of economic well-being. What are the shortcomings of the gross domestic product? What are the shortcomings of GDP as a measure of economic well-being? As we discussed in the earlier slide, even though by the GDP numbers we are crossing the Japan, but still there are many things which are unchecked, where we are very much backward. In reality, the things are very much different, but in numbers we are different beasts. So let's solve the question. First statement, GDP growth accurately reflects the distribution of income and wealth within a society. Does it represent that? It is totally incorrect. This statement is totally incorrect. Even though what GDP represents? It represents the wealth in the country, but it does not represent the distribution of income and wealth within the society. Under the GDP, the numbers can be 7 trillion, but it is the reality. If the GDP of a country is 7 trillion, for example, 6 trillion will be held by a single person only. So this is the reality. It does not explain us, it does not show us the distribution of income. It does not talk about that. So first statement with respect to this question is incorrect. Second statement, it shows says activities in the informal sector such as household work and voluntary services are fully accounted for in GDP calculations. Totally incorrect. They are not accounted. What you do at the household work, for example, women usually they do the household work. How much money they save through this, it is not accounted in the GDP. So this is also one of the drawback of the GDP. So second statement is also incorrect. Third statement, it says GDP tends to overstate economic progress by not adequately factoring in the costs of environment degradation and resource depletion. 100% correct. GDP, it is about the exaggeration of the numbers, but at the same time, when these for example, if we have any coal company, how much it is degrading the environment, that won't be mentioned by the GDP, but it will show us how much revenue that has generated. So third statement is exactly the correct answer for this question. Fourth statement, it says a high GDP per capita necessarily indicates a higher standards of living across all segments of the population. Totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, what is the correct statement? The correct statement is option 3 only, and from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. So with this, I hope you had understood the question as well as the context of the question, why we discussed it. Now with this, let's move to the another slide and see what article we had brought there. So I hope till now you had understood the article, what was important. I hope you had understood that. With this, let's move to the another slide and see what article we had brought there. Well, here the article is about the growing pains. India needs to grow faster to transition as a developed economy. So this is also an important article which I saw in today's newspaper, and it has put some light on the growth in our country, how it is growing, and the estimates of being the Viksit Bharat, how it is going to impact that. So this article is something different. Under this article there was one thing mentioned, that India needs to grow faster to transit as a developed economy. A data on India's economic performance in 2024-25 released on Friday, it showed that there was the data released by the released on India's economic performance on in 2024-23-25. There were few things if which people can cherish about, and at the same time there are few things which people can figure out. What are the issues with us, what are the problems with us. Even though if we will look at the data, even if we, as it was given in the article also, if we look at the what was the growth in the quarter 4 growth, it was around 7.4%. It was the quarter growth was around 7.4%, and it was considered very higher than what was expected for the quarter. In this, we saw different there were the mentions of different sectors. For example, the construction sector, the growth in the construction sector, the growth returned to the double digits. In the construction sector, as well as in the agriculture sector. Our hold is getting stronger in the agriculture sector also. Our hold is getting stronger, because these are those two sectors which represent represent the economy of our country, which represent the employment of our country. But still, if we look at the manufacturing sector, in the manufacturing sector, there was huge decline. The growth we grew only by 4.3%. 4.3%, and if we will compare it with the previous year's fourth quarter, it is very much less. As in the previous year fourth quarter, it was 11.3%. So definitely, there are few sectors which we can cherish. For example, construction and agriculture, we had seen some growth, but in the manufacturing sector there is definitely a degrowth, or we can say we did not grow as much we should have. Even though these numbers, the growth rate, GDP growth rate of 7.4% was achieved in large parts due to there are even though if we will represent the total GDP growth, it was 7.4%. It was achieved in the large parts, but what was the major contributor of this growth? It was basically majorly because of the tax collections. There were good tax collections, especially in the GST sector. So because of these tax collections, we had achieved this growth. But here the author raises some questions. Is this growth, as we are trying to achieve the Viksit Bharat goal, we are trying to achieve this Viksit Bharat goal by 2047, that we want to be the we want to achieve the developed nation status. Is it enough for us to grow by this stature, to go by these numbers? Is it enough for us? Here the author has highlighted an important point. Please do write this point. To achieve this growth, to achieve this status of Viksit Bharat, we at least need to grow by above 8% for a decade. For a decade, we need to grow by above 8%. Then only we can achieve this Viksit Bharat goal. And also in the manufacturing sector, we have to do miracles to achieve this goal. So this much was in the article. Here it has. Let's recap the article again. Here this article, it has pinpointed few important concepts, that how we are growing. How we had done in the last quarter, in the fourth quarter, how we had done in few sectors, for example in the construction sector and the agriculture sector. That is something we can cherish about. But also there are few sectors where we were very much not that good, for example in the manufacturing sector. Then further, the author here, the article here gives the analysis of what the GDP growth which we had achieved, and what was the major contributor. It was the tax collections. And finally he gives us the little idea what we are trying to achieve. we are trying to be the Viksit Bharat by 2047. Is it possible if we will grow by this rate? The author here says it is totally impossible, because to achieve that goal we need to grow by our percentage growth should be, our GDP growth should be 8.4%, above 8% every year. Then only for one decade, then only we can get this, we can achieve that target. So this is what was in the article. So with this, let's move to the another slide and see what article we had brought there. Let's see that. The another article here, it is about the education, about the Tamil Nadu government. Always, if you would have followed me from last 1 year, as we used to do the daily news question analysis, in that we would have often seen the issue with the governor of a state. We had brought various questions with respect to that, and one major thing which was common to all those discussions, whether it would be the needs related issues, whether it would be the language related issues, whether it would be the new education policy related issues, one thing which was very much common in it was that the Tamil Nadu government was on the one side and the center was at the another side. So here, what this article is about, that the DMK, it has stated that they are going to take steps carefully to bring education back to the state list. About education, let's see, let's understand few things. First, what is the state list? You would have heard about the 7th schedule. If you are very much new, then don't worry, as from today we are going to discuss the polity. Definitely we will discuss the 7th schedule when the time would be best for you guys. So you have to stay with me, but here please do write down these important points. They are very much important for you. In the 7th schedule, there are various items are there, and they are distributed into 3 different sets, or we can say into 3 different lists. For example, we have the center list for center, union list, or we can say union list. We have the state list for the states, state list, and then we have the concurrent list, and whatever is not included in this, then for that we have the residuary list. So here, what is the center list? There are the items which are totally governed by the center. In the state list, there are items which are totally governed by the state. In the concurrent list, there are items which can be governed by the state as well as the center. But there is one thing: if the center makes the law on the item which is in the concurrent list, then the state's law cannot overcome that center's law if they are opposite to each other. Then the state's center's law will overcome everything. So this is the issue. Before 42nd Constitution Amendment Act, before 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, the education, it was the part of the state list. But after 42nd Constitution Amendment Act, it was introduced in the concurrent list. Once the education was introduced in the concurrent list, what now happened with the education? According to the Tamil Nadu government, let's jump back to the current situation. According to the people in the Tamil Nadu, or we can say according to the people in nutshell, on the broader perspective, that education is something which is going to impact the state mostly, and it should be under the state list, and it is the state who should make laws with respect to that. But as we know, after the 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, the education was put in the concurrent list, and often the centers would make laws with respect to education, and the states has to abide by them. But here, when it comes to the Tamil Nadu government, when it comes to those states which are non-Hindi speaking, when new education policy was introduced, that the states have to go for the third language, we had seen that how these states rejected that, and they believe that the center is interfering, the center is trying to negate, center is trying to negate their languages, center is trying to impose Hindi on them. So they are not willing to accept those changes what the center brings in, and they believe that center is trying to interfere what should be in their domain. So in this way, the DMK government here, they had stated that they will take appropriate steps to take this education, to bring education back from the center, from the central list, from the union list to the, from the concurrent list to the state list, so that states can solely be responsible for the education, how they would interfere with it, what are the laws they will make with it, that would be suitable for the states only, that center will have nothing to play with it. So that is the reason they believe that center is trying to impose laws on us. Center is trying to impose Hindi on us because of all these fears. For example, recently we saw that how center interfered with respect to the vice chancellors of the universities. So there are various issues which has risen from the last few years, and the states, especially the South Indian states, they are not liking it, and for that reason only they are stating that this education, it should be brought back from this concurrent list to the state list. So with this, I hope you had understood it, you had got the basic idea about it, what is this all about. Now with this, let's try to solve the question which can be asked on this model. Here the question says, with reference to the 7th schedule of the Indian Constitution, which of the following statements correctly describe the status of education? First statement, education is exclusively listed under the union list, granting the central government sole legislative powers over it. Totally incorrect. It is not under the union list, as we discussed it. Second statement, education is exclusively under the state list, granting state government sole legislative powers over it. Totally incorrect. Before 42nd Constitutional Amendment Act, it was under the state list, but it was taken away from the state list to the concurrent list. Third statement, education was originally in the state list but was later transferred to the concurrent list, allowing both the union and the state government to legislate on it. 100% correct. Fourth statement, education is not explicitly mentioned in any of the lists falling under the residuary powers of the parliament. Totally incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statement is option C. So with this, I hope you had understood the article as well as the question here. Now with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, here the discussion is about the Telangana Farmers Backward Index with Cost Survey data. This was very much interesting article in the newspaper today, as they had as the Telangana government, they had came up with this brilliant idea, bringing up the backwardness index with cost survey data. What Telangana government has done under it, recently the cost survey was done. It had appointed the 11-member expert working group, and it was headed by the former Supreme Court Judge Justice B. Sudarshan Reddy. He headed this panel, and they did the analysis of the cost survey, and on this basis they formed an index which we can say that it is the composite backwardness index. They formed the composite backwardness index. In this composite backwardness index, what they are going to do, what cost, whatever cost it would be, what is how they are represented, what is the number of population, it won't impact it. Whatever the cost would be, it would ask them money questions. Had they ever faced any discrimination, what are the issues they had faced, these things would have been discussed with them, and on the basis of the results, what they will get, on the basis of the survey, what they will get, they will form this index, which is called as composite backwardness index, and it would judge the backwardness of the costs on a scale of 0 to 126. On the scale of 0 to 126, in this these costs would be judged. They would be asked such questions, and it would see how backward the cost is. If the backwardness of the cost is 0, that means the cost is not at all backward, and if any number above 0, it shows the scale at which the cost is how backward the cost would be. It would be represented by the numbers. So this such index, it has been first time brought out in the world, and Telangana, it is the first government. Telangana government, it is the first government which has first state in the India which has brought out such index, which is composite backwardness index. So please do remember that it can be very much important for your prelims exam. So let's recap that they had brought this index. It would they would judge the backwardness of the costs on the scale from 0 to 126, 0 being least backward and 126 being the highest backward. In this, they would ask different questions to the people belonging to different castes, whether they had faced any discrimination, how educated their children are, what is the medium of the education for their children, had they visited any English schools, English medium schools, all that. These questions would be asked. What is the status of smartphones, whether they are having these smartphones or not in their house, what is the status of their houses, whether they are having the pakka houses or not. So different questions would be asked to them, and what the results they will get. On those results, these costs would be, they would be given this index, how much backward they would be. So Telangana government, it is becoming the first government which will have this index. So let's see what question we can frame from this discussion. Let's see it on the another slide. Here the question says, cost survey in India have been a subject of significant debate. Which of the following are potential impacts or consequences attributed to the conduct of a nationwide cost survey? First statement, more equitable distribution of welfare benefits and resources based on updated demographic data, 100% correct. If you have the proper cost survey, if you know how much backward they are, you can equitably distribute the welfare benefits to them. Second, increased political mobilization and demands from various caste groups for greater representation, 100% correct. Third statement, facilitation of targeted policy interventions to address socio-economic disparities, 100% correct. If we know the data, if we have the data, we can know what are their demands and we can give them whatever they want. Fourth statement, potential exacerbation of caste identities and social division, 100% correct. This is also one of the concern related to it. It can further exacerbate or widen the caste identities and social divisions by conducting such surveys. It is one of the major drawback of this. Fifth statement, automatic removal of the creamy layers concept from the reservation policy. This is incorrect because it is totally up to the judiciary to remove them. So fifth statement is incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 and statement 4. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option C. With this, I hope you had understood the article. What Telangana has done, you had understood it, as well as what were the important points in it. So with this, let's move to the another slide and see what question we had brought there. Well, here is an interesting article. Even though for many guys here, they won't find it that much interesting for the UPSC exam, because you would believe that such articles are something to cherish, but UPSC may not ask us such questions. But trust me, this is very much important for your UPSC preparation, especially prelims. Because it is something related to Kolkata Rath Yatra, so we need to know about it, what it is, which is the agency which conducts this Rath Yatra, and what this Sky Jet tires for Lord Jagannath Chariot in Kolkata, what it is about. So let's try to understand the article. You would have heard about the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. International Society for Krishna Consciousness. This is the society which is conducting the Rath Yatra in Kolkata from last Rath Yatra in Kolkata from last 5 decades. If we would be more precise, from 1972 it is conducting this Rath Yatra. From 1972, as mentioned here. So what is this Rath Yatra, what is this Jagannath's Chariot? That we will understand through the question, but here let's try to understand it. This is the International Society for Krishna Consciousness. It is organizing annual Rath Yatra for the last 5 decades, and what they are doing for the Rath Yatra, they are using wooden chariots wooden vehicles which used to be which were very famous in the prehistory times or ancient history times, and even also in the medieval times. But with respect to this article, with respect to the religious background, usually in the prehistory times, when the gods when these lords, they used to use them as the vehicle. So for these wooden chariots, it is celebrated, and these wooden chariots, what they used to do, they used for the vehicles of these chariots, what they would do, they would use the Boeing vehicles, Boeing tires. Boeing airline, we have the Boeing airlines, they would use Boeing airline tires. But from last 20 years, as per the article, they were trying to replace these Boeing tires with the Sukhoi jet tires. They were about to replace these Boeing tires with the Sukhoi jet tires, and successfully this year they had achieved it. From last 20 years they were trying to achieve it. They had went to the MRF to make these tires for them. They went to the MRF to make these tires for them, and for the MRF, for MRF, usually the IAF was the Indian Air Force was the only client of them for these tires. But now this International Society for Krishna Consciousness, they are getting this. They are getting these tires for for these chariots. And about this, we had understood now what we had understood. This they are conducting this annually from last 5 decades, especially from 1972, and from 1977 Boeing tires were used, and from 2025 they are going to use the Sukhoi tires made by the MRF. About the Rath Yatra, it symbolizes Lord Jagannath's journey to the Gundicha temple. So it symbolizes the Lord Jagannath's journey to the Gundicha temple. So this much is important for you, which you should write down. What is the agency which is responsible for the Rath Yatra? Please do know that. Which is the agency? What is the important feature of it? They use Sukhoi jets from this year for the chariot tires. So please do remember these important things. It can be very much important for your cultural perspective of your exam. So let's try to find out what question which can be formed from this article. Here the question says, with reference to the Calcutta Rath Yatra, consider the following statement. First statement, it is primarily organized by the International Society of Krishna Consciousness. 100% correct. It commemorates the annual journey of the Lord Jagannath, Balabhadra and Subhadra from the Jagannath temple to their aunt's temple. 100% correct. At Gundicha temple, aunt's temple at Gundicha temple. So please do know that, Gundicha temple. Third statement, the Calcutta Rath Yatra is the largest yatra outside the Puri, Odisha. 100% correct. Fourth statement, unlike the Puri Rath Yatra, the deities in the Calcutta are brought out on chariots pulled by devotees without the participation of the state government. This part is incorrect because participation of state government would definitely be there. So this makes it incorrect. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2 and statement 3 only. And from the code given below, the correct code would be option B. With this, let's move to the last article of today's discussion. Let's see what article we had brought there. Well, here this image was on the Hindu newspaper, and it is about the Kheer Bhavani Mela, which is going to be held in the Jammu and Kashmir. So what is this Kheer Bhavani Mela? It is dedicated to the goddess Ragya Devi. So please know that it is also very much important article for the art and culture, dedicated to goddess Ragya Devi, dedicated to the goddess Ragya Devi. So please do know that, Ragya Devi. Second thing, it is believed to reside in a temple who is believed to reside in a temple at Tulmul village in Srinagar. This Ragya Devi, the goddess Ragya Devi, it is believed that she is residing in a temple at Tulmul village in Srinagar. Tulmul village in Srinagar. So please do know that what this festival is, Kheer Bhavani Mela. Please remember about it. It is about its celebration. It is celebrated on the Jyestha Asthami, the 8th day of the bright phase Shukla Paksha of the Jyestha month, which usually coincides with the month of May and June. So these were a few important points. Please do know about them. Do note these points about the Kheer Bhavani Mela. As it was mentioned in the newspaper, it becomes eventually important for your preparation. Now let's see what question which can be framed from this image. Let's discuss that question. Here the question says, with reference to the Kheer Bhavani Mela, which is an important annual festival in India, consider the following statement. First statement, it is primarily celebrated by the Kashmir Pandit community, 100% correct. The Mela is held at the Ragnaya Devi temple located in the Ganderbal district of Jammu and Kashmir at Tulmul, 100% correct. The offerings of kheer rice pudding to the deity is a significant ritual during the festival, 100% correct. Fourth statement, it is considered a significant symbol of communal harmony in the Kashmir Valley with participation from various communities, 100% correct. So with respect to this question, the correct statements are statement 1, statement 2, statement 3 and statement 4, and from the code given below, correct code would be option D. With this, we had completed today's discussion. I hope you would have understood every article as well as these questions. Now here I would ask you to do a few things. You know, from today we had started the discussions. Now from today till the next year's May, 1st May, we are going to discuss these articles, and also we'll try to cover our syllabus by the month of January itself. But till May, these classes will continue from 1st June, from 2nd June 2025 till 1st May 2026. We are going to conduct these classes. So in this year, in this education year or salvation year, we can say, as our name is Salvation IAS, in this year we are going to discuss various questions every day. So what will I do if I was the student? You know, one thing I will do which will differentiate me from the other students, all the questions which I will discuss here, what I will do, I will write down these questions. I will make my own question bank. I will develop my own question bank from today itself. You know, today in this lecture itself we had discussed 5 questions. So what we will do, we will discuss, I will write down these 5 questions. You know, I will revise these 5 questions, and in the evening session we will discuss the static portion. I will how many questions we will discuss there, I will write down those questions also. I will develop my question bank. When my exams would be near in the next year's month of May, I will have some days from the 1st May till my exams. What I will do, I will recap these questions, and these questions, what these questions will do, they will do wonders for me, because these are the articles which we had discussed. These are the important questions which can be framed from these articles, and if I have the last mile look at them, if I have the last mile understanding of these articles, these questions, this is going to be the game changing for me. You know, let's suppose which I believe these would be the concepts from where the questions would come. Let's suppose these are not the concept, these are not the exact questions what they are going to ask them, but at least there would be many statements which can coincide in the exam. Let's leave the statements itself. Trust me, these would be the concepts around which the questions would be asked. Suppose concepts will not also come, but the habit of solving the questions, the techniques which we will learn in solving these questions, those techniques would work wonders for you in the exam. And trust me, if you will follow me, if you will follow the way I will put forward for you guys, it will definitely help you in cracking the exam. So with this, I would like to thank you guys. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day. Please do trust the process. You know, you will do wonders if you will follow this channel for at least for 1 year. Try it once, you will definitely like it. Thank you for staying with me. Thank you very much, and have a nice day.